Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Renuka with the evening news. The headlines. Second phase of assembly election in Uttar Pradesh and single phase of voting in Goa and Uttarakhand passes off peacefully. Prime Minister and senior BJP leader Narendra Modi and Congress leader Rahul Gandhi address public rallies in Punjab. Centre reduces agri cess for crude palm oil from 7.5% to 5% to provide further relief to consumers. Government bans 54 Chinese apps posing threat to national security. Coal production increases by 6.13% in January this year as compared to the same month in 2020. Ministry of Finance grants 1,154.9 crore rupees to urban local bodies of Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Gujarat and Sikkim. No radio station of All India Radio Network is being shut down or downgraded, says Prasar Bharati CEO. Over 173 crore 38 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. Recovery rate improves to 97.68%. And in women's cricket, second ODI between India and New Zealand to be played at Queenstown in New Zealand tomorrow. With the new Omicron variant of coronavirus causing concern, we appeal to our listeners to be vigilant and to get fully vaccinated and help others, including children between 15 and 18 years, to get vaccinated. Please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Polling concluded peacefully today for the second phase of elections in Uttar Pradesh, with 55 seats of 9 districts of the state going to polls. According to the Election Commission, more than 60% polling has been recorded in this phase. In the wake of the COVID pandemic, all necessary arrangements have been made for free, fair and corona-free polling. The districts where polling took place today are Saharanpur, Bijnor, Amroha, Moradabad, Rampur and Bareilly. A report.
Barring few sporadic incidents, voting was peaceful in the second phase of elections in Uttar Pradesh. Voters came out in large numbers to exercise their franchise, which is a good sign for democracy. First-time voters and women voters were quite enthusiastic to cast their votes. Second phase has decided the political fate of 586 candidates, including 69 women candidates. The prominent faces in the fray in this phase include senior Samajwadi Party leader Mohammad Azam Khan, former minister in UP government Dharampal Singh, ministers in state government Suresh Khanna, Baldev Olak, Gulab Devi and former mayor of Bareilly Supriya Iran. Out of the 55 seats which went for poll today, BJP bagged 38 last time, while Samajwadi Party got 15 and Congress got 2 seats in the last assembly elections. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In Goa, single phase of voting passed off peacefully in 40 constituencies of the state. Out of these constituencies, 1 seat is reserved for the scheduled castes. Over 75% voting was recorded till 5 p.m. In 2017, the coastal state had registered a turnout of 82.56%. The electoral fortune of 301 candidates, including 26 women, have now been sealed in EVMs. More from our correspondent.
Important candidates whose fate will be decided are Chief Minister Pramod Sawant, Deputy Chief Minister Chandrakant Kavlekar, Opposition Leader Digambar Kamath, Aam Aadmi Party Chief Minister candidate Amit Palekar, Goa Forward Party Chief Vijay Sardesai, and Independent candidate Utpal Parikar. For the first time, BJP is contesting in all the 40 assembly seats, while Congress and Goa Forward Bloc are contesting in 40 seats. Trinamool Congress is contesting in Goa Assembly elections for the first time. The TMC has made an alliance with Maharashtrawadi Gomantak Party and the alliance is contesting in 39 seats. Similarly, Aam Aadmi Party is also contesting in 39 seats, while NCP and Shiv Sena alliance is fighting in 23 seats. The newly formed Revolutionary Goans Party has fielded candidates in 38 constituencies. Krishna Kumar Lal, AIR News, Panji, Goa.
In Uttarakhand, polling for all 70 assembly seats in the state ended peacefully this evening. There was no information of any untoward incident from any constituency during the polling. The official polling figures are expected by late night. More from our correspondent.
More than 81 lakh voters of the state have decided the fate of 632 candidates by pressing the button of EVMs. Chief Minister and BJP leader Pushkar Singh Dhami, Congress senior leader and former Chief Minister Harish Rawat were among the prominent leaders who were in the fray. The pace of voting, which started at 8 a.m. today, was initially slow, but by the end of the evening, a large number of voters reached the polling stations and cast their votes amid COVID protocol to decide the political futures of 632 candidates. 11,697 booths were made for voting, which include separate booths for women and differently abled voters. Counting of votes will take place on 10th March. Raghavesh Pandey, AIR News, Dehradun.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today addressed an election rally in Jalandhar, Punjab. Starting his address with tributes to the freedom fighters of Punjab and brave martyrs of Pulwama, the PM said, "In the border state of Punjab, peace is must for national integration and harmony." He said, "For national security, there is a need of government which can work with solemnity and gravity." He said the double-engine government of BJP can move Punjab fast on the path of development. The Prime Minister added, BJP and its allies are contesting election with the resolution of New Punjab with the slogan, Nava Punjab Bhajpa de Naal. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi today addressed an election rally at Hoshiarpur in Punjab and sought vote for the party candidate. Addressing the rally, he raised the issues of demonetization, GST, corruption, farmers' protest against farm laws, drug mafia and employment. He promised to set up food park and machine tools industry in Hoshiarpur if voted to power. A BJP delegation led by Union Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi today approached the Election Commission and filed a complaint against Congress leader Navjot Singh Sidhu for his alleged remarks attempting to give a communal colour to the election in Punjab. Talking to reporters after the meeting, Mr. Naqvi said the delegation has urged the Commission to take action against Mr. Sidhu as such type of remarks are in violation of the Model Code of Conduct. Mr. Naqvi said the delegation also apprised the Commission that in the Uttar Pradesh Assembly polls, Congress, Samajwadi Party and Bahujan Samajwadi Party are allegedly trying not to let Muslim women cast their votes. He said they have requested the Commission to put in place adequate arrangements to prevent fake voting. In Manipur, election campaigning has reached its peak, with senior BJP leaders arriving in Imphal and addressing election rallies for the first phase candidates. 21 BJP candidates organized election gathering along with flag-hoisting ceremony today in different assembly constituencies under 5 electoral districts of Manipur. Union Minister and BJP leader Rajnath Singh and Kiren Rijiju, along with the Chief Minister of Assam and convener of North East Democratic Alliance, Himanta Biswa Sarma, today attended BJP election rallies and canvassed the voter to cast their votes to the BJP candidates in the upcoming state general election. The Union Minister of State for External Affairs and Education and BJP leader R.K. Ranjan Singh also addressed election rallies today. Meanwhile, Congress Party has announced its star campaigners for the upcoming 12th general election to Manipur Legislative Assembly. They include President of Indian National Congress Sonia Gandhi, MPs Rahul Gandhi and Jairam Ramesh. With a view to provide further relief to consumers and to keep in check any further rise in the prices of domestic edible oils, the centre has reduced the agri-cess for crude palm oil from 7.5% to 5%. The cess has been reduced with effect from 12th of this month. The Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution in a statement said that after reduction of the agri-cess, the import tax gap between crude palm oil and refined palm oil has increased to 8.25%, which will benefit the domestic refining industry to import crude oil. To check the prices of edible oils, the government has also extended the current basic rate of import duty of 0% on crude palm oil, crude soybean oil and crude sunflower oil up to the 30th of September this year. The ministry said that the rate of import duty on refined palm oil, which is at 12.5%, and refined soybean and refined sunflower oil at 7.5%, will also remain in force up to 30th of September. Besides, the government has specified the stock limit quantities on edible oils and oilseeds for a period of up to 30th of June this year and the Essential Commodities Act 1955. The ministry said oil industry is being called for a meeting tomorrow to do their best in passing on the benefit to the consumers. State governments have also been requested to enforce stock limit orders strictly. The government has banned 54 Chinese apps posing threat to national security. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has issued the list of banned apps. The list of 54 apps includes some of those that had been banned by the government earlier but were rebranded and relaunched under new names. Upon official confirmation and after establishing the country of origin, orders have once again been issued to ban the apps. Several of these apps have been known to either run malicious software or directly send user information to China-based data centers without users' consent.
Coal production increased by 6.13% to 79.6 million tons from 75 million tons during January this year as compared to the same month in 2020. As per the provisional data of the Ministry of Coal, out of the total production during January this year, Coal India Limited achieved a growth of 2.35% by producing 64.5 million tons of coal. Coal-based power generation has registered a growth of 9.21% in the month of January this year in comparison to January 2020. The overall power generation in January 2022 has been 6.69% higher than in January 2020. The Department of Expenditure, Ministry of Finance today released an amount of 1,154.9 crore rupees to 4 states for providing grants to urban local bodies. The states to which grants were released on Monday are Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Gujarat and Sikkim. The grants released are meant for non-million plus cities, including cantonment boards.
The Commerce and Industry Ministry has said the wholesale price index based on inflation is maintaining a declining trend. It said the annual rate of inflation is 12.96% as of last month, which is a continuous decline from 14.87% in November 2021 and 13.56% in December 2021. The ministry said the high rate of inflation in the last month is primarily due to rise in prices of mineral oils, crude petroleum and natural gas, basic metals, chemicals and chemical products, food articles, etc., as compared to the corresponding month of the previous year. Retail inflation jumped to 6.01% in January 2022 compared to 5.56% in December 2021. As per the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation data released today, rate based on the Consumer Price Index CPI, inflation in food and beverages rose to 5.58% compared to 4.5% in December. However, on a month-on-month basis, retail inflation fell by 0.3%.
Export of shallots has seen a boom with a growth of 487% since 2013. Exports rose from $2 million in April to December 2013 to $11.6 million in April to December 2021. Major export destinations during April to December 2021 were Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Thailand, UAE and Singapore. The National Health Authority NHA is collaborating with various ministries implementing welfare schemes to strengthen different aspects of Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana ABPMJAY. The Ministry of Health in a statement said integration with beneficiary database under different schemes is aimed at enrichment of database for implementation of ABPMJAY. The ministry said the beneficiary database enrichment under the scheme would mean adding additional parameters to database for ease of search. The majority of ABPMJAY beneficiaries are also eligible for benefits under National Food Security Portal. NHA is also working on a proposal to use fair price shops or ration shops for providing information related to the scheme and entitlement under the scheme to eligible beneficiaries. NHA is mandated with the implementation of the scheme and it provides health assurance up to 5 lakh rupees per family per year for secondary and tertiary care-related hospitalizations.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Second phase of assembly election in Uttar Pradesh and single phase of voting in Goa and Uttarakhand passes off peacefully. Prime Minister and senior BJP leader Narendra Modi and Congress leader Rahul Gandhi addressed public rallies in Punjab. Centre reduces agri cess for crude palm oil from 7.5% to 5% to provide further relief to consumers. Government bans 54 Chinese apps posing threat to national security. Coal production increases by 6.13% in January this year as compared to the same month in 2020. Ministry of Finance grants 1,154.9 crore rupees to urban local bodies of Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Gujarat and Sikkim. No radio station of All India Radio Network is being shut down or downgraded, says Prasar Bharati CEO. Over 173 crore 38 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. Recovery rate improves to 97.68%. In women's cricket, second ODI between India and New Zealand to be played at Queenstown in New Zealand tomorrow. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर
8700014242।
Welcome back to the evening news. Prasar Bharati CEO Shashi Shekhar Vempati has said that no radio station of All India Radio Network is being shut down or downgraded in the country. He said efforts are being made to upgrade and modernize the services of All India Radio.
There is a lot of fake news, a lot of misinformation that is floating out there. No radio station is being closed. No radio station is being downgraded. And services are being reformed because technology has changed. Listening habits have changed. There are more avenues for listener. So we have to be efficient, we have to be relevant, and we have to be modern in the way we produce content.
He said focus has been laid on generating content in local and regional languages, interacting live with listeners at an open house program on FM Rainbow channel this evening. Mr. Vempati said AIR has a responsibility for every strata of society and it has to meet regional and national needs. On a question about the Prime Minister's address through Mann Ki Baat, he said this program created awareness about the various social initiatives. Responding to a query about live streaming of sporting events, he said efforts are being made to broadcast various sporting events through All India Radio. Mr. Vempati also lauded the role of AIR and Doordarshan during the COVID pandemic, saying that several innovative measures have been taken during the pandemic to create awareness among people. India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 173 crore 38 lakh today. More than 40 lakh vaccine doses have been administered till 7 p.m. today. More than 1.72 crore precaution doses for the identified categories of beneficiaries for COVID-19 vaccination have been administered so far. In the age group of 15 to 18 years, more than 5 crore 24 lakh vaccine doses have been administered as first dose and 1 crore 63 lakh as second dose so far. The recovery rate is currently at 97.68%.
And now let us listen to a special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of this struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember freedom fighter Akamma Cherian, who was born on the 14th of February 1909 at Kanjirapalli, erstwhile Travancore, in Kerala. Though a teacher by profession, she quit her job to join India's freedom movement. Gandhiji gave her the title of the Jhansi Ki Rani of Travancore.
August 1938. A public demonstration was called by the Travancore State Congress, which was suppressed by the Diwan of Travancore. People rose up in the civil disobedience movement and many nationalist leaders were imprisoned. Akamma Cherian, who was only 29 years old at the time, came forth during the trying times and emerged as a daring and charismatic leader.
She organized a massive rally to put pressure on the rulers to release the jailed leaders and to install a responsible government in Travancore. More than 20,000 people joined the protest, and people across the country hailed her for her unflinching courage.
Akamma organized the Desha Sevika Sangh, a female volunteer corps, and travelled tirelessly across the country to appeal to women to join the freedom struggle. Her efforts led to a surge in the number of women volunteers in the local bodies.
On the 24th of December 1939, she attended the annual conference of the Travancore State Congress, for which she was sentenced to 1 year of imprisonment. After release, she became the president of Travancore Congress, and in her presidential address, she welcomed the Quit India resolution passed at the Bombay session of the Indian National Congress in 1942. Akamma faced a series of arrests for violating ban orders and staging protests, but this did not deter her.
Post-independence, Akamma was elected to the Travancore Legislative Assembly in 1947. She quit active politics in 1967 and served as a member of the Freedom Fighters Pension Advisory Board. In her autobiography, she summed up her life when she wrote,
Shakespeare has said that the world is a stage and that all the men and women merely players. But to me, this life is a long protest against conservatism, meaningless rituals, societal injustice, gender discrimination, against anything that is dishonest, unjust.
Akamma Cherian continued to work for the people till her death on the 5th of May 1982. We salute the great freedom fighter.
जगातील शास्त्रज्ञ आणि काही भारतीय शास्त्रज्ञ असं म्हणत असतात की या 21व्या शतकामध्ये अन्नधान्य आणि पाण्याची टंचाई यांची तीव्रता या देशाला जाणवेल आणि या शतकाच्या अखेरीला कित्येक लोक भूक बळी पडलेले असतील, पडत राहतील आणि पाण्याच्या शिवाय माणसं तडफडतील.
We also remember nationalist Mohan Dharia, who was born on the 13th of February 1925 in Raigad district of Maharashtra. Dharia plunged into the independence struggle at the very young age of 16 years.
In 1942, Dharia and his fellows tried to take charge of the Tehsil Kacheri in Mahar, Raigad, with an armed attack. During the raid, 5 people, including a government official, died. Dharia immediately went underground. However, he was caught by the police and sent to jail. After completing his sentence, he established the organization Lok Sena to free the Janjira princely province from the Siddhi rulers.
After independence, Mohan Dharia joined politics and was elected to parliament multiple times. He was also involved with many social initiatives. AIR salutes the great freedom fighter.
We also remember nationalist Shama Charan Shukla, who died on the 14th of February 2007. His father, Ravi Shankar Shukla, was the first Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, and Shama Charan himself became Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh 3 times. Shama Charan was inspired by the freedom movement and participated in the Quit India movement in 1942. He was the founder editor of Mahakaushal, the first Hindi daily from Raipur.
After independence, Shama Charan joined politics. He was appointed the State Irrigation Minister in 1967 and Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh thrice in 1969, 1975 and in 1989. Later, in 1999, he was elected as a Member of Parliament. His public life was marked by simplicity, ethical conduct and integrity. We salute the great nationalist. That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase Hallmark Gold Jewelry. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Jago Grahak Jago. Delhi government's mobile app Dekho Meri Delhi can now be used to book a visit to Mughal Garden and other major tourist spots. Swati Sharma, MD, Delhi Tourism and Transportation Development Corporation said the app will provide users with a link to the Mughal Garden ticketing site and help them with details such as how to reach the area and what facilities are available nearby. The Sensex and the Nifty today logged heavy losses in sync with plunge in the global equity markets. A report from the Business World.
The Sensex tumbled 1,747 points or 3% to settle at 56,406, while the Nifty lost 532 points or 3.06% to 16,843. In the forex market, the rupee weakened 22 paise against the US dollar to trade beyond 75 rupees and 50 paise per dollar mark, and oil prices fell around 0.5% after hitting their highest in more than 7 years. In the intraday trade, Brent crude was trading around $93.90 per barrel. Nishit Kumar for AIR News.
On to sports. In women's cricket, India will take on New Zealand in the second ODI John Davies Oval, Queenstown in New Zealand tomorrow. In the first ODI, New Zealand defeated India by 62 runs in Queenstown. The 5-match ODI series will provide the visitors valuable preparation before the ICC World Cup, which will also be played in New Zealand from the 4th of March. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi is likely to have mist. Temperature will vary between 9 and 28 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have fog in the morning and a partly cloudy sky later. Minimum temperature will be 19 degrees Celsius, while maximum is expected to be around 29 degrees. Chennai is likely to have a partly cloudy sky. Temperature will vary between 23 and 31 degrees. Kolkata will have a mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature will be 15 degrees, maximum around 27. Srinagar will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Temperature will hover between 1 and 10 degrees. Jammu will have a mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature will be 8 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be around 20 degrees. Leh is likely to witness light snow. Gilgit will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Muzaffarabad will have partial rain. Visakhapatnam will have partly cloudy sky with haze. Bengaluru and Hyderabad will have fog in the morning and partly cloudy sky later. Thiruvananthapuram will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. Imphal, Kohima and Itanagar will have a partly cloudy sky. Shillong, Aizawl will have a mainly clear sky. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Second phase of assembly election in Uttar Pradesh and single phase of voting in Goa and Uttarakhand passes off peacefully. Prime Minister and senior BJP leader Narendra Modi and Congress leader Rahul Gandhi address public rallies in Punjab. Centre reduces agri cess for crude palm oil from 7.5% to 5% to provide further relief to consumers. Government bans 54 Chinese apps posing threat to national security. Coal production increases by 6.13% in January this year as compared to the same month in 2020. Ministry of Finance grants 1,154.9 crore rupees to urban local bodies of Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Gujarat and Sikkim. No radio station of All India Radio Network is being shut down or downgraded, says Prasar Bharati CEO. Over 173 crore 38 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. Recovery rate improves to 97.68%. And in women's cricket, second ODI between India and New Zealand to be played at Queenstown in New Zealand tomorrow. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.